What's up, everyone? Welcome into another Grizz Game Day update. I'm Kelcey, that's Mike, and today your Memphis Grizzlies will host the OKC Thunder here at FedExForum. Mike, let's start off. The Grizzlies are on a 2-game winning streak. They have never this season had a 3-game win streak, so tonight could be the night. Do you want to kick it off with who's playing and who is not for the Grizzlies?
Well, for the Grizzlies, I mean, obviously we saw that Zaire Williams was out last game as he's dealing with some knee soreness. We know Ja Morant continues to be out. As far as I know, was Kyle Anderson on the injury report as well? I want to say.
Yeah, Kyle's questionable.
Yes,
questionable.
yes. So it's one of those deals where we're going to get to game time again, as we always do, and figure out how these guys progress through their workouts and that kind of thing. I would like to see Zaire back in the lineup tonight, particularly against a young OKC team that has a lot of young athletes that are doing their thing as well. So hopefully this won't be something that lingers for him. Now for OKC side, Josh Giddey is the guy that everyone wants to see. He missed last night's game with a non-COVID illness. They played Houston last night and lost to Houston, so he wasn't part of that game. We'll see if he's a game time decision tonight or whatever. But, this is going to be one of those games. We talked about the 3-game winning streak. That's right on the table for the Grizzlies. They should be able to roll out there tonight and win this game against a young, shorthanded type Oklahoma City team that, frankly, has one of the worst records in the NBA right now. Lost 7 straight games. They're struggling, trying to figure it out. But again, you can't take anything for granted when you're the Grizzlies right now, because they're doing some of these same things too.
Yeah, as you said, one of the worst records. They are 6-15 right now on that 7-game losing streak. And Giddey's a guy on this team who, although he's young, is leading in rebounding and assists. But the head of the snake for this team is Gilgeous-Alexander. And just last night, 39 points. This boy has been on fire. He's averaging 21, 5, and 4 so far this season. And you saw down the stretch, if you watched this game last night against Houston, they go to him for everything. He scored 11 points in that last quarter. He was the guy who the last 3 possessions was taking it by himself. And so I think it starts today with containing Shai tonight. And I will say the Grizzlies, we've talked about this, Mike, almost every game day update, that the Grizzlies have had the worst defensive rating in the NBA. If you take away the season and you look at just the last 2 games, they're actually top of the league right now in defense. So there's been some kind of switch that's happened. So I'd like to see that continue in stopping one of the most dynamic young guards there is.
And Shai always gives the Grizzlies problems. We've seen that, even when the Grizzlies are full staff. I mean, full strength is one of those deals where his combination of length, ball handling, athleticism, and vision allows him to be a tough matchup. And he's one of those guys. There are about 4 or 5 guys in the league that Ja Morant looks at and says, okay, I got to bring my entire arsenal tonight to be able to compete with this guy. And it's usually the same kind of guy, the De'Aaron Foxes, the Shai Gilgeous-Alexanders, those bigger guards that can handle and basically neutralize his size. Now, Ja's not there tonight. Shai had a career high last night, as you talked about. Now, if you're the Grizzlies, though, to your point, I looked at the defensive rating almost after every game now, because I'm trying to see, can they get out of 30 and maybe up to 29? They're only a half a point behind New Orleans right now in defensive rating for bottom in the league after 2 remarkable defensive performances. Can they put a third together?
The best 2 defensive performances.
Yes, the best 2. You said they were number 1 based on where they are this week. So they're number 1 in the league in defensive rating this week. Now, here's another thing that should help them. Oklahoma City, 29th in scoring. Oklahoma City, 29th in field goal shooting percentage. Oklahoma City, 29th in 3-point shooting percentage. Oklahoma City, 30th in assists. So those things sort of match up for the Grizzlies to have another remarkable defensive performance tonight. Keep them under 100 points. They're one of only 2 teams in the league that are averaging less than 100 points. Detroit is the other team. So this shapes up as a game where the Grizzlies can dust off their defensive dominance and keep that going for 3 in a row. What are you looking for specifically from some of the guys that are going to be playing tonight to continue to do that you've seen this week?
All right, before I answer your question, let me add to that. I love the 29, 29, 29. They are also bottom in the league in the things that the Grizzlies are good at, and that is fast break points, second chance points, and points in the paint. So the Grizzlies really need to just go in there and do what they do tonight. And it seems so simple to do that against, any team, but OKC would be the team where you just got to play your game. You can't beat yourself, which we have seen the Grizzlies do for some opponents that they're supposed to beat. Yeah. In terms of players, I think tonight offensively, especially if Kyle is out, he's questionable right now, like we talked about. it's really going to come down to the three guys who have been getting it done since Jaw is out, and that's Jaren, Desmond, and Dylan. They combined for 56 points against the Kings, 65 points against the Raptors. And I think if they can go out and just have themselves a solid night, the offense should, take care of it. I hate to say that because we always harp on defense, but you're right. This team averages 99 points per game. You just got to outscore them tonight.
You have to outscore them tonight, and you have enough, as you talked about, in those three guys to be able to give you something. Now, can DeAnthony Melton add to that and give you a few things? Can a Brandon Clark come off the bench with a spark and give that second unit some more, another push? Can Tyus Jones, limit the turnovers and allow the Grizzlies to capitalize on a young team that doesn't protect the ball that well in Oklahoma City? So create some of those easier opportunities. One thing also I wanted to point out too is that, we saw Taylor mix up his rotation a little bit. I wanted to get your thoughts on, seeing Santi get in the initial. I mean, he was one of the first reserves off the bench. That caught me by surprise. He moved ahead of Brandon Clark a little bit, but he played more of a 3 as opposed to a 4-5. But what did you make of that tweak in the adjustment in terms of the rotation?
I definitely wasn't expecting it, and I think most people are like, Taylor, like, what are we doing? But he played so well. He went out there with the confidence of a fourth-year guy. Like, I was pleasantly surprised, I'll say.
Mm-hmm. I was too. And what I saw that as is Taylor likes to experiment too. Like, even though, when we think we know what's up his sleeve, he throws a wrinkle in there every now and again. Like, remember, like when everyone was expecting Brandon Clark to just assume that position, he threw out Xavier Tillman, and Xavier proved that he was ready to play. Same thing, when we were talking about who's going to be that other starter, should it be Kyle Anderson? And it ended up being DeAnthony Melton, and Desmond Bane. So he always have these curveballs that he throws out to reward guys.
They worked.
Yeah, they've worked. And these guys have been prepared. And to Santi's credit, he didn't seem overwhelmed by being a first rotation guy. So kudos to him for stepping in and being a first round draft pick who was ready for this moment. We've seen the Grizzlies go to that. And I want to see what other wrinkles he have up his sleeve tonight, but I want to see if that one continues particularly.
For sure. Okay, my very last thing, and this is a quick one before we get out of here and get ready for the game day. Yep. I just need to have this said, so I will ask you for your opinion as well. The matchup that you're most looking forward to tonight is? Oh,
man, Jaren Jackson Jr. and whoever they roll out in their front line.
I love that.
I like OKC's young bigs. They do have some athleticism up front, but they're so young and they still have to coordinate themselves. I need to see Jaren go for 25 and 10. 25 and 10. I'm just going to put that out there. 25 and 10. What do you say?
And this is not a Canadian thing. I'm going Dylan Brooks, Lou Dort. Because I think that is two dogs that are guys that are defense oriented, and I think they're just going to go at each other tonight.
Well, Dylan's going to go at whoever he faces. I mean, that's one of the most physical scorers we have in this league. Kudos to him. He stepped in. Yeah, I want to see that too. So let's just go ahead and get this win. Let's not make it any harder than it has to be. And let's just go ahead and go 3 wins in a row for the first time this season. I'm for that.
I'm for that too. The game tips off at 7:00 tonight, guys. If you want to come and chill with us at FedExForum, you can get your tickets at 901-888-HOOP. Watch on Valley Sports Southeast or listen on the radio at 92.9 ESPN.